In this review, I'm going to compare the British Airways and Virgin Atlantic business class product. I'll score each service based on a range of criteria to conclude which scores higher. I've flown with both airlines in the past couple of months. With British Airways, I flew Club World from London to Toronto on a Boeing 777-200 extended ranged aircraft, featuring the new Club World suite. The return flight was on a new Airbus A350-1000 aircraft. With Virgin Atlantic, I flew upper class from London to Barbados and back on an Airbus A330-300 aircraft, featuring the original upper class suite. I'd previously taken a Virgin flight featuring their new upper class suite product. To compare price, neither airline had a sale on, so I selected a random weekend to fly from London to New York. Both airlines offered fares at around £2,700, with BA £30 cheaper. So with neither standing out for price, what difference will there be in their product? BA flies from Heathrow Terminal 5. There are dedicated check-in desks for business class, but these are shared between short-haul Club Europe passengers and long-haul Club World passengers. Each time I've flown with BA this year, I've queued for about 30 minutes to check in. I've also seen first-class passengers brought over to queue jump the business line so they didn't have to wait at the first-class check-in, whilst nothing similar happens for Club World passengers with the World Traveller lines. The general fast-track security is then available, although large numbers of passengers with status also qualify for this, so the queues aren't necessarily fast. Virgin flies from the older Heathrow Terminal 3. They have dedicated check-in desks for business class passengers. The queues tend to be shorter because they don't also have to deal with short-haul passengers. However, upper class passengers can also arrive via a private drop-off area with separate check-in facilities. For both methods of check-in, you are then directed to a private security lane, separate from the main fast-track service. On check-in, Virgin certainly has a faster, more premium service. With both airlines, once you've cleared security, you have to run the gauntlet of duty-free shopping to get to their business class lounges. With BA, you can use the Galleries Lounge. This is normally a self-service lounge, but during the pandemic there has been some waiter service. When I've used the lounge, it's tended to be busy and often difficult to find a seat. Arriving at the lounge, I've always found the staff to be less than welcoming, continuing to talk amongst themselves rather than serve guests. Inside there's a basic selection of food, together with a range of drinks. Virgin, on the other hand, has the Clubhouse. The welcome at the front desk is in stark contrast to BA. You are told when your flight is scheduled to board and then given a quick explanation of what's available in the lounge. It is a waiter service lounge with an extensive range of food and drinks brought to order. It is more spacious than the Galleries Lounge, competing more with BA's first class lounge. Again, for roughly the same price, the Virgin Lounge experience wins hands down. At the gate, BA checks you in as you're called forward to board. They allocate each passenger to a boarding group, which is shown on your boarding pass. These groups are then called forward to board in turn. My experience of boarding flights was okay, with a crew member at the door directing me to my seat. With Virgin, you're checked in on arrival at the gate. There is a priority lane, but this includes everyone travelling upper class, premium, economy delight and those with status, so there can often be a bit of a queue. My experience of boarding flights was okay, with a crew member welcoming you at the aircraft door. Neither experience stands out, but BA probably has the edge because they use boarding groups. Both airlines have a new business class seat which they debuted on their Airbus A350 aircraft. The Virgin seat is upholstered in leather, the BA one in fabric. The comfort is similar. However, the BA seat has more storage areas around it and a far better table that you can move backwards and forward. The Virgin table has a fixed position, which can be too close to you. BA has announced plans to retrofit the new seat to more of their aircraft, meaning you're more likely to experience the new suite than the older yin-yang business class seat. So on the seat, again BA has the edge. While BA might edge ahead with the seat, Virgin has a better overall cabin experience. Their older aircraft feature a bar where you can socialise. With the newer A350, there is the loft seating area where you can sit with others. With BA, you're very much left in your own seating area alone. So on the cabin environment, Virgin has the edge. Both airlines have large entertainment screens on their newer aircraft. The systems feature a range of movies and box sets. The Virgin system features external cameras so you can watch the takeoff and landing. There are power sockets and USB ports at each seat. Wi-Fi is available on both services, but the cost on Virgin is higher at £21 for the whole flight compared to £15 on BA. On this it's a tie, cheaper Wi-Fi and the external cameras balance one another out. The BA Amenity kit looks better than the Virgin one. Virgin has gone for a recycled range which looks cheap. However, the bedding on Virgin is of a better quality and you're provided with a sleeper suit. With BA, you don't get pyjamas. So BA scores better on the kit, but Virgin catch them up with better bedding and PJs. Both airlines have changed their meal service as a consequence of the pandemic. With BA, you get a choice of main course only. The starter and dessert are the same for everyone. Similarly, with the second meal, you get a choice of main course, but the same cakes which had nuts in them. With Virgin, there was a choice of each course. All of the food tasted good, although the presentation wasn't that great, in part because of COVID precautions. The choice of each course puts Virgin just ahead. Both airlines offer a range of wines and spirits. The wine lists have suffered during the pandemic with less spent per bottle. On BA, an average bottle of wine costs just under £14. On Virgin, it's less than £11. Both offer a choice of champagnes or sparkling wines, but again the BA selection is slightly more expensive. In terms of quality, BA scores an average of 3.87 out of 5, whereas Virgin scores lower at 3.7 out of 5. So BA wins on the wines. On service, I was disappointed with BA. I've flown a number of Club Europe flights in the last year with a really good level of service from friendly staff. On my long-haul flight, I got the impression the crew couldn't be bothered. I wasn't at my seat when they came around with the pre-departure drinks or menus, so I wasn't given either. When my food order was taken and I said I didn't have a menu, the response was, "You can look at mine, but make your mind up now." When meals were cleared, you weren't asked if you wanted a top up of drinks. The glasses were just taken away. And with breakfast, if you were not awake, you didn't get anything. There was not even the offer of a drink later on. By contrast, the service on Virgin was very good. The crew were friendly and keen to help. You didn't have to ask for a top up of wine. The crew came to you with the bottle and asked if you wanted more. With Virgin, there was more of an experience to the flight, rather than the getting from A to B approach of BA. Adding up the scores for each of these criteria, BA scores 69% compared to Virgin's 80%. Having experienced both services, Virgin does stand out, from the superior clubhouse at Heathrow to the onboard service. But both services are good, and anyone flying business class is very lucky. Comment below and let me know what you think about both services. Do you agree with my analysis?